All right, 2113 podcast. Welcome, everyone. I believe this is episode 7. True to form, I really don't have anything prepared for today, but I did want to get down here, like I've said before, keep this thing rolling and continue to use this as a spilling port for my views and my opinions and my experiences. It's all about me. No, it's not. Of course not. But at times it does feel like that. How self righteous of me to get on here and spew my viewpoints and point the camera at me and put a microphone in front of my face. I feel like that quite often. I do have a lot to say and not a lot of opportunities to say it. I do relish in those opportunities when I'm with my brother knights or those in shared Christian faith or even a Catholic viewpoint to talk about these experiences. And, more often than not, I feel like I become argumentative when it's someone of a more Protestant viewpoint, but I'm becoming more accepting in that ecumenicalism. It's a challenge, but I think I want to do it out of love and charity because, as I've stated and I'll continue to state, I do believe that the Catholic Church teaches the one true faith and the fullness of the faith, really. Not anything derivative, but in its whole acceptance and teachings. And there's so much debate to be had there, but it's something that I truly cherish myself. And, I want to bring more understanding and light to what the Catholic Church truly does teach. And there's way too many people out there. I can't say way too many. There's not enough, truly. But there are definitely many personalities out there that are going to do a better job in the apologetics field than I certainly would. I have no education in this other than my own research and readings and questionings and searching for my understanding of what the church teaches, which I don't even want it to be my understanding. I just want to mold myself to the Lord's will and do what my Father asks of me. And if I leave it to myself, that's where I'm going to fall into error. And that gets problematic real quick, It's been a really good week. Lots of wonderful opportunities to experience the Lord's graces. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in the podcast or not, but I'm in the second phase of Catechesis of the Good Shepherd training for Atrium Level 1, which is a great experience. I've not spent any time in Atrium with children yet. I should have over the last training period last year. However, I did not find the time to do that, but I will here in a few weeks. Be taking a couple of weeks off of my middle school ministry and sitting across the hall in level 1 atrium, which is going to be fabulous. I love the training so much. I love digging in the materials and I love being in the atrium. I like taking that posture of a child and hearing the presentations and being a part of them. And the pace. I think the pace is truly what I appreciate the most, and just being able to be in the Lord's Spirit and calm down and get away from just the rush of everything. There's not a moment of my day or my life that isn't planned out in some aspects. Like I find myself just rushing through, and I know that's not anything that's strange to any of you guys. I find myself waking in the morning, and going through my daily prayers and what have you in the morning, and after that it's like, okay, I need to do this in the morning, this at work and into the afternoon, and then this evening I need to do this, that, and the other and prepare for this or the other. And in my mind mentally it's already 9:30 in the evening and I haven't even stepped foot out of the house. But the slowness and the stillness of the atrium is beautiful. Being able to take on that childlike faith and learning how to reach the child with this and just the posture of being the humble servant, or would it be the useless servant? I'm just a tool the Lord can use to reach the child and trying to help that child receive the Lord. But that's beautiful. So I think this week will be the third week of that second year of Catechesis, the Good Shepherd, CGS. And also continuing on with my duties within the Knights. And I was kind of joking around at our meeting last night how, I was never a good student in high school. I would say probably middle school, any kind of semblance of being a good student was not reached by my own efforts. But I hated doing like presentations and what as often as I like to speak and whatnot. But with my Knights role, I find myself twice a month having to prepare a meeting and presentations and get up in front of individuals whom I really enjoy and give some information. And it's a wonderful growing opportunity for me. And I'm always astounded at how, even entering into the church, I wanted to go so fast. I wanted everything all at once and right now and hurry up and how can I grow, and the more the better. And, the Lord will slow you down real quick. But he's giving me many opportunities, kind of piecemeal, and just growth abounds every single place, with my middle school ministry being offered that opportunity and noticing the difference between that first year class I had in the children and then the subsequent years after that, finding new methods to try and help them to understand and fielding their questions. And, now with the CGS training, kind of taking it from an even younger viewpoint. And I've never been one that viewed himself as a teacher. I wouldn't say I'm neither a leader nor a follower. I know I definitely tend to follow certain bad aspects and be a follower in that regard. But it's just great the opportunities the Lord's presenting in my life to grow in the faith, and I see this, building to where, at my first year of conversion, like I said, I wanted all of it. Like I want to give my life to Christ in every aspect. Why am I wasting my time at it's not a waste of time, but why am I at a 9 to 5 doing X, Y, or Z when I could be spreading the gospel message, and using all of my resources for that, whereas, there's opportunities at work to spread the gospel or to be even a silent witness in just the way that I behave or talk or carry myself or whatever. But through the years, I've noticed that the Lord is presenting avenues and my level of involvement is increasing, which with each passing year and the relationships that are developing and folks that I'm meeting. And it's just fantastic. I love this cat wants to climb up this black drop cloth. Come on, Lydia. Go. Real rough, guys. I don't know. So yeah, like the CGS, the middle school ministry, my role within the Knights. I had my first opportunity where I was asked to serve at altar this past weekend, which my youngest daughter, she served for a number of years. So that was a really nice opportunity for her and for myself. I thought it was really nice to be able to go to my daughter who's 12 and say, hey, can you help me learn how to do this? And what do we do here? And how does this go? And, she really rose to the opportunity to teach her dad. I had served at altar twice before, both of them at funeral masses, one for a beloved deacon of our parish, Rod Ammon, who actually helped me with my annulment process. And, so I had just a very brief relationship with him. He was a wonderful man. I served at his funeral mass, which really truly wasn't at altar, and then I served for a visiting priest when no one was available for another funeral mass, which I believe I had assistance at that one as well. But This weekend it was just a really nice opportunity. I served two masses and just a wonderful experience to be in the presence of our Lord in that close proximity. And I've always kind of been reluctant to altar serve because I like to truly enter into the mass, and I didn't know altar serving. I still don't know altar serving well enough to where I can immerse myself in the mass, yet still maintain the responsibilities that I would need. I did find when serving on Sunday with my daughter that, I was still able to participate, but I was still a little anxious and had some nerves of making sure that I did my duties well. And I think that should spread to anything I do in life. We're doing all to the glory of God. So, yeah, that's a good reflection to take off of that into my day to day, no matter what it is I do. So yeah, that was a great opportunity. There's some opportunities this weekend to help at some pregnancy care centers, which I'll be seizing that opportunity. Just some upcoming stuff, with a role with my parish. I was invited to a dinner with the Bishop of Lansing here. So, I mean, it's not me, it's many individuals, but I kind of fanboy out when Bishop Boyer is around, and I love it. And my eldest daughter, she's kind of taken that on too. She was confirmed by Bishop Boyer, so she definitely loves the bishop. That's fantastic. And what a blessing we have in such a faithful shepherd and bishop. Extremely grateful for him. Um, Still praying my rosary. I haven't missed a day. I was able to pray it in front of the tabernacle yesterday before my night's meeting, which was a blessing. So many graces to receive there, and on Columbus Day, no less. I did listen to a podcast from Father Joe Krupp where I want to say this was on the feast day of Our Lady of the Holy Rosary, which used to be Our Lady of Victories. And, he kind of started expounding upon the history of Our Lady of Victories and how that all ties in. And I found some ties between that victory and Columbus and his explorations, and so much that makes me want to dive deeper into those middle years of Christendom, right around the Protestant Revolution, and I just, that's going to open up a whole other can of worms, of course, but I love leaning on our Blessed Mother and her intercession, no matter if it's individuals that are falling away from the faith and then bringing even more souls back into the faith. And I say that just thinking of Our Lady of Guadalupe, how many souls were converted to the Christian faith in the New World, so to speak, in Latin, Central, and South America. Amazing, and that on the tails of the Protestant Revolution and that huge split, how many souls were taken away from, the fullness of the faith. But that whole crusade aspect, of Our Lady of Victories and the Battle of Lepanto, and I'd never heard of that before, and why that feast day would be renamed, applicable to Our Lady of the Rosary, but to kind of wash it of that that defense of Christendom in Europe from the Muslim invaders. Like, that's, I don't know, if you reflect on that into today's world, and as unpolitical unpolitically friendly as it may be, just the mass immigration and refugees in Europe, and where that all is heading. You look at the changing atmosphere in England and Germany and Spain and France especially. It's wild, so it's something that's definitely, the forefront of my thoughts when I'm praying the Rosary, for peace and for love and charity in our world and just a hope, and I pray that our Blessed Mother will intercede on our behalf in those cases, as she's done in the past. I mean, yesterday being Columbus Day, Columbus was a devout Catholic Christian. What was his main ship? Santa Maria. I had read that him and his crew prayed the Salve Regina, or prayed, one or the other, in the Ave Maria daily. And they were truly on a mission to spread the gospel. Now, I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that as well, positive and negative, depending on which viewpoint you want to take. I'm not a historian in that sense, and I don't think I'm here to truly hash all but as I'm learning these things, it's like, man, the Blessed Mother truly had her hand in a lot of that period of time, which is amazing. And I love that beauty and fullness in thinking about that. And I don't know, I get lost. So I've been giving out, in a sidebar, I've been giving out many little medals that I had purchased down at the Shrine of the Little Flower there in Royal Oak. Many third-class relics. I've been able to give those to a few individuals, some bookmarks, and they've been very well received, and I'm grateful for that. It's just another opportunity to spread grace and well-being, and, my prayers for individuals, and, just continuing on this little way. I'm certainly a work in progress. Today, for some reason, I was thinking a lot about, just who I was in the past and who I want to be in the future and where I'm at in the present. And, I get lost in a lot of it. I truly do. I listen to some of these comedy podcasts and, some of the stories I could tell and whatnot. And I know this probably isn't the place for many of them, but, even a lot of the friends that I keep, like, man, to just sit down here and rehash a lot of the stuff that we had gone and the experiences and the hurts and the joys and things that, it's amazing that I found myself where I am and continuing to grow, continuing to try to be a better person, trying to pray and meditate on what the Lord's will for me is in my life as, an employee, a parishioner, a member of the Knights, a father, a son, a brother, a member of the community, all of these things. Where do I fit in? How do I do this to the best of my God-given abilities? And, true to this podcast, I guess, I really haven't reflected too much on what to say this evening. It's just a mash of things and thoughts that come to mind. Mostly I wanted to reflect upon all the opportunities that I've been given to serve and to step outside of myself and try to give to others. And I don't want to do that in an egotistical or selfish way. Look at all the things that I'm doing, but to God be all the glory for these opportunities, to step outside of myself, to help other people, when called upon. And if I can continue to increase that, and, it's a daily turning towards, it's a daily metanoia, that turning to God, and God willing, I have to think that at some point in my life, it will be fully His, and I won't have those small reversions, as I guess I'd call them. I have no idea. Not to say that there's anything innately evil or wrong about, and I might be mistaken there, about, listening to music that was entertaining to me. Man, some podcaster was, and it was just a YouTube short, he was going through Nas's Illmatic album, and man, how I loved that album and how well produced, and man, what a slice of my past that was. So like if I take and listen to that and appreciate the artistry aside from the vulgarity and the negative themes, and can that be appreciated aside from yeah, all those negative things. And is it wrong to, I don't want to say relish in them, or I just enjoy them? I wouldn't think so. I don't know if rightly ordered. But, just continuing to move forward and hopefully one day the Lord will have me all for his own, and but I'll still have that concupiscence, and with the Lord's graces and participation in the sacraments, and I'll dispose myself to receive those graces to continue on this walk of righteousness, and through the blood of Christ, one day. So I don't know. That's where I'm going to leave this for this evening. Um, yeah, I love it. God bless you guys all. May God bless me, my family, my children. Um, I'll try and get another one out to you guys later this week. And upward and onward. God bless you guys. Thank you. Meow.